Everyone, and thank you for joining the GoV Initiative webinar. In this session, I will introduce the GoV project and the new method to move from Primo to Primo VE. The agenda will be to start with the motivation for the GoV project and the advantage of this initiative. We'll talk in a very high level about the Primo VE, its status and principles, and then we'll talk about the GoV principles, the self-switch process and the support channels. I would like also to share with you the high-level timeline, which will be gradual rollout, and some practical tips, what you need for this project, and then we'll answer common and frequently asked questions. As usual, you will have time in the end to ask your questions. So let's start. So why GoVE? What is the motivation for this project? The existing project is managed by Exlibris delivery team. This team gets requests from customers to move from Primo to Primo VE and then schedule a project plan with the customer. The management and most of the work is done by Exlibris delivery team. And the customer actually test it and get feedback about how it looks like. We already moved 108 institutions in the last 2 years, which is great. A lot of customers moved from Primo to Primo VE. But on the other hand, we have 751 existing Primo institutions, which we get more and more requests to move to Primo VE. It's clear that this is not scalable. We cannot move hundreds of customers in a time, and it may take years. Also, libraries need to get the flexibility to start when they want, decide about their preferred duration and go live, etc. And we cannot meet all the customers' requests. The last point in this method is about the knowledge, which is centralized at Exlibris. Libraries actually don't work on the configuration. So during the process, customers miss the opportunity to learn Primo VE and the way to use its tools. So for those needs, we have a new GoV initiative which will answer those needs. The GoVE is a self-switch process driven by the institution and also managed by the institution. It supplies the scalability. All the institutions can move to Primo VE in the same time. This process is planned to provide a large set of tools and capability to allow you to move by yourself with extensive Exlibris support help to help you with the process. This option also provides you the flexibility and the autonomy throughout the project. You can start and proceed with it as per your availability and convenience. During this project, you will gain the knowledge transfer. We plan to give you the knowledge how to use the Primo VE tools in the best way, and so in the end of the process, you will be an expert in the Primo VE. And of course, it comes with extensive Exlibris support to help you with any question or any issue with your move to Primo VE. So this is actually the GoVE. It's a self-switch driven by not by Exlibris, but with a lot of tools and support from Exlibris side. Why GoVE? Before we start to dive into the self-switch process and its details, a few sentences about the Primo VE, because we cannot talk about the process to move to Primo VE without reminding you in short why to move to Primo VE and what its advantage. So let's start with its status. During the June, which is actually end next week, there are some big implementations. So in the end of June, we will be with 750 live Primo VE institutions, which those institutions are from all types, all regions, all topologies. We have Primo VE new customers as well as Primo customers that moved from Primo. So this is actually the status of Primo VE in a very high level. The advantage and the principles of Primo VE, first is a unified implementation, which with Alma and the higher education platform, which reduce the need to configurations twice, like institution, libraries, IPs, authentication, etc., etc. There is no need. There is no need to configure it again in Primo. It's configured already as part of Alma setup, so you can Primo VE use actually those setup and no need to configure it again for Primo VE. No need for publishing. It's actually a real-time discovery. All the data from Alma and all the configuration on the platform are available. No need to run publishing process to view Alma data. Any change in the existing data or new records are affected immediately in Primo VE. So actually it's, you just add a new record and you immediately, or your users immediately see this data. The simplicity, we started with Primo VE and created new features. We think about the easy and quick way to configure them. For example, most of the features don't require recalculation of the data or running processes, for like configuring scopes, configuring local fields. It's very simple and immediately affected in the front end. Configuration of feature is done in one page and not in several pages. Like in Primo, it's a task-oriented configuration. So it's really easy and simple to configure features in Primo VE. Primo VE is also SaaS-based, which actually on the higher education platform and give us better synchronization products. So, for example, development in Alma is synced with Primo VE in the same release date. It's easy for us to release features in this way, and because it's monthly updates, it gives us the ability to respond much faster. And something that we always try to do is to think how we can take the advantage of the platform and release nice features or release the features in a better way because of the platform. So those are the principles. It's a very high level and very brief reminder for the Primo VE. If you want to see or to get more information, you can use the Primo VE video to get the details of this. Okay, so let's start with the Go VE safe switch principles. So what are the principles of Primo VE? First is the management. As I said, the driven and the management of the process is moved to the customers and not by Ex Libris. Provide you the possibility to plan the project based on your availability. The process contains 4 self-switch steps from the beginning to the go live with extensive 4 Ex Libris support channels. We will talk about the steps and support channels extensively in the coming slides. During the Primo VE process, you will work on Alma production. This is the environment to work on and test the Primo VE. But important to understand that there is no impact on Alma or your Primo production at all. It's just enabling Primo VE, and you can test it on Alma production, but no impact on your production environment. And that this is that the data and the setups from production is available to you in your testing. Full data and Primo VE data and configuration are available for you during this Go VE process. And also important principle is that every Alma institution has its own Primo VE. It's a one-to-one relation. The steps. There are four self-switch steps: the enablement, authentication, configuration, the go live. As you can see here, all of them are driven and managed by the institution. When enablement is an automatic process that will be invoked when you start the project, and create your basic components of Primo VE. And the go live, it's a collaboration between the customer and the Xlibris step. Let's dive into the details about every step in this process. So enablement. Enablement is an automated process provided the necessary components to start working with Primo VE. You will see a new Go VE button. This is actually a screenshot from the new layout, the Alma new layout, but it will be available also in the existing layout. There is a new button of the Go VE. When you click on it, you will see the layout, and clicking on the link will open actually the Welcome to Go VE process page. As you can see here, the list of Primo View codes will be listed in this page, and you can select what are the views you would like to create in Primo VE, what are the available and relevant views that you would like to create in Primo VE. And clicking on Go will invoke automatic process, which this automatic process contains several areas. First, it enables the discovery menu. To the general administrator, this actually the Go VE button will be available only to general administrator user, so it can start configure after the clicking on the Go VE. You can start configuring the discovery menu. Other users are not affected and will not see any difference in their Alma menu and configuration. Only those that are relevant and part of this project can enable the discovery menu discovery admin role for their users, and then see the discovery menu. But before that, after clicking on Go VE, the general administrator, which sees the Go VE button, will be able to start configuring the discovery, and all the discovery menu and configuration will be available to him. And then we create the selected views, the views that you would like to create in Primo VE. In addition to copy customization from Primo, for every view, we will fetch the customization from Primo and upload it to Primo VE, and also the translation. All the labeling that you have modified in Primo will be copied to Primo VE. Also, the search will be available. We are going to enable the CDI search by copying the PC key from Primo to Primo VE, and enable search in the catalog, in your local Alma catalog, by invoking a discovery indexing job. So we are going to present the status of this automatic process in a new page. We will talk about this page in coming slides in details. Just would like to show you that you have the 4 steps, automatic steps, and you can see here what already completed and what's still in progress, and follow those in progress tasks. You will have the link to the views. So in this stage, you can actually click on the view and see the customizations, the translations, and invoke and search in Primo VE local data, and also in CDI. Also, I would like to mention again that those views are available only to those that you would like to share with them those views. For other users, for other librarians, for the patron, no change in the Alma or in the Primo action. Everything is as usual, but those that are part of the project can see the views, can use it for their testings, and can configure discovery menu, discovery components. So this is about the enablement. The authentication step is actually is important for library services and the features that you require user login. Like search history, etc. The authentication is configured as part of the platform authentication configuration, and then you can enable for Primo VE users. So if you already have your authentication system configured in Alma, you can just enable it for Primo VE, and it will be ready in this immediately. For other cases, you can configure the authentication systems in Alma. Probably you require the library IT involvement for those configuration. And then when those authentication profiles are configured, you can enable them for Primo VE users. The next is a configuration, which is actually step 3, but it's not. It shouldn't be after the authentication. It can be also as a parallel step of the authentication configuration. You can start working on it also if the authentication is still not configured, and see all the relevant elements that does not require sign in. This step is actually for you to enhance and adjust Primo VE and use all the Primo VE tools and capabilities, and actually add your features and your local needs to Primo VE. For this, this actually is the main part of the project and contain everything you would like to configure in Primo VE, like local fields, external data source, scopes, etc., etc. A lot of configurations that you can add in Primo VE, and so this is the main part and the massive work of the project. And for this work, we are going to have 4 support channels, which we will talk about them extensively in the coming slide. But in high level, we plan to have comprehensive documentation for the Go VE, which will guide you how to switch your Primo configuration to Primo VE. We are planning, it's not the regular Primo VE documentation, but new documentation which is going to be written especially for this project and cover all the Primo VE tools and functionality with another view, is not view of explaining the feature, but the view of how to switch Primo configuration to Primo VE. In addition, we will have open office hours webinars with explanation about a certain topic and let you ask your questions. And in this area of the configuration, we would like to give you some tips in terms of how to configure features in Primo VE. First, before you configure new element in Primo VE, check what Primo VE default configuration is. Because Primo VE contain a lot of Primo OTB, of Primo local fields and configurations that could be set in Primo as a local data, but in Primo VE, we created them by default because we found that those are the commonly configuration created by customers. For example, I think the meaningful area is the local fields. A lot of Primo local fields, which were commonly created by customers, are created OTB in Primo VE. For example, location facet is created by default, call number is indexed automatically, relations, which is what Alma published as PLK and customer define them by themselves, are configured OTB in Primo VE, so relation calculation is done automatically. Another tip is to understand what Primo VE offers for your needs. The way configuration step in Primo VE is different than Primo. This is because we have redesigned the tools to make them much simpler and easier. On new feature, we could use the platform capabilities we did and use the platform capabilities. One simple example that it's actually the way configuring local fields in Primo versus Primo VE. In Primo, this is done as the local links in Primo VE. In Primo, this is done as a local field in normalization rule under the local, under the link section. There is a way in the normalization to configure local links. When in Primo VE, this is part of the Alma.js configuration. So this is actually the important tip for you. Do not try to necessarily copy the configuration, but try to find the best way to configure things. And this is the advantage of the Go VE initiative. It's directed to you how to make the most of the capabilities and guide you what is the best way to use the Primo tools and with a view of the Primo VE and not in the way it was done in Primo. The last tip we wanted to share with you in this stage is during the process, you can analyze what you have in Primo and rethink what you want in your discovery. And if you think that changes should be done according to the new way students use a discover or system mechanism systems, this is your time to change things and to reorganize your discovery. So this is also a tip when you start working on the configuration. Don't copy the configuration, but try to think if this is a good way for now, for the new time, for the new way students use the system, and think what you would like to copy or to configure in Primo VE. We also, this is actually what I presented briefly before. I would like to talk about that now in details. We are planning to create a new page, progress tracking page, which will reflect you the progress in the project and will allow you to update the status, access the documentation, and add notes. You can see here that there are automatic steps, automatic tasks that we can update the status of them. When they are completed, we can change the status and also add more details about them. All the manual steps are actually when we will find, the system will find any progress in the configuration of it, we can change the status to in progress with more information about what is configured. So for example, authentication, what are the authentication that are enabled, what are the local fields configured till now, and the status will be in progress. The way it's actually your input if this task is done. So for this, we have an action to change status. So you can change the status to completed and reflect in this page that this task is done. We plan to have actions. First is a go to documentation, to the Go VE document, the specific document for this task, and also ability to change the status. First, there will be the option to change this to completed when it's done, but also when it's not relevant for you. If you, for example, doesn't have local resource type relevant, you can change it to not available, so you know that you can skip this task. And also give you the ability to add notes for your convenience to add more information about the task, where it stands, etc., and share this with the other people that work on this project. Step 4 is actually the go live. When everything is configured and tested and work as you wish, this is time to go live and let all the librarians and patrons to work on with Primo VE. This step is a collaboration step between the customer and Ex Libris. When the go live preparation is done by the customer, the redirection of the Primo deep links should be configured by the customer and tested, and you will have to submit a case for the go live with more details about when you wish to go live with Primo VE. And the more details will be followed in the documentation, exactly what is needed, what is a case, what is a type, etc. And what is done by Ex Libris in general is first the DNS switch from Primo to Primo VE. We plan to copy favorites and analytics from Primo to Primo VE. This should be done in the go live day, because data is added all the time. So those copies, the favorites data of all the users will be copied to Primo VE, and also the analytics that you have in Primo will be copied to Primo VE. And also we will update the Salesforce about your go live in Primo VE. I guess that most of you ask yourself now, how can I know that I am ready for Primo VE and I can go live with this with a Primo VE? So first is a process tracking page. When all the tasks are green, you know that you have completed the work. You have on all the tasks that needed. We also are going to provide you a checklist you can run and use for your testing, but we also suggest you to have your own checklist for your unique features and needs. So we also recommend you to prepare your checklist relevant for your needs. And in the end, it's important for us to be clear that it's your decision to move to Primo VE. We are not going to force you to move. When you feel you are ready and you want to make the switch, you are welcome and you can do so. So those are the 4 steps. Let's move on to the Primo Go VE support channels. So we plan to have 4 support channels: the documentation, open office hours webinars, the Go VE info email address, and support cases. In the document, we are working on comprehensive documentation, covers all the aspects to move to Primo VE. This documentation will be available before the Go VE release, which will give you the time to learn and review the documentation to be prepared for the project. As I mentioned before, this is not the regular documentation, but another view of how to switch every Primo components to Primo VE in the right way. And for this, every document will be structured with 3 sections. The first section will be the theory of the feature, explaining the Primo VE functionality with links to the regular Primo VE documentation and training sessions. Also explain for you to understand what are the principles and differences between Primo and Primo VE setup. For example, local fields don't require a calculation of the data, as well as scopes that can be configured and enabled immediately. This is a big difference and change of the perception between Primo and Primo VE. So it's important for you in the theory section area to understand what are the main differences. The second section is a preparation. In this section, you can check and analyze your Primo setup and decide what is needed in Primo VE. Sorry. We will give you a guideline and directions how to analyze your Primo setup if you need. And in the end, there will be the configuration step, which direct you what and how to configure and convert your Primo configuration to Primo VE. In addition to this documentation, we are going to publish some general pages like rich FAQ page, Primo VE known gaps and differences, the feature alignment plan, Primo Alma topology, topologies and their way in Primo VE, etc., etc. Additional documentations that are relevant for this project. Okay. The first channel is the documentation. The second channel is a open office hour webinars, which is going to be a series of webinars available to all customers starting from mid-October. If in every webinar, we are planning to have first a topic overview by Ex Libris for a certain topic to explain and review the functionality and the way to configure it and how to convert it from Primo to Primo VE. Also, we plan to ask your questions, which we will give you the ability to pre-ask questions, to ask in advance questions. So we will answer your pre-asked questions during the webinar, and we'll give you free time to ask any question related to GoV or Primo VE. And this channel is actually your opportunity to ask any GoV question, which is actually a general question or a knowledge question related to GoV. Not specific questions, but knowledge or general questions. We also are going to have GoV info email address. This email address was already sent to you. You can use it from now. It's already available. And you can send also any GoV question, general or a knowledge question, any question about when you think that you have spacious setup or any question about what Primo VE support. You can use this email for from now and send any question you want. This email is sent and to Ex Libris staff, and we will answer you back with our answers. And as I said, it's actually you are welcome to use this email address to ask your questions. For other, for any other situation, you can also open cases to get support. This is intended for specific customer issues that require investigation on the customer environment or things that don't work as expected. In other words, for cases that we will not be able to answer in other tracks, in other channels, as they require deep investigation, you can and should use these support cases. We are going to have a new environment type in the portal, in the support portal. So we will be able to follow those cases and recognize the cases related to the GoV transition. We think, that with those 4 support channels, we hope that every need you will try to deal with, or any configurations that you will want to configure, or any question that you have, you will get the proper answer. You can select any of those channels to ask and get help, and we will answer you with your needs. The high-level timeline. So we plan to have gradual rollout We plan to start with the single institutions and then to continue with the consortia environment. For single institutions, there are 3 stages. The early access stage, which is the first one, will be in September. The Go VE button will be available only to those customers, to the early access customers, but the documentation will be available to all institutions, so you can start to review it and get knowledge and get the information related to the Go VE project. In October, we plan to have 2 Alma instances. We will notify you later on with what are the Alma instances that will be enabled with the Go VE. The single institutions that are on those Alma instances will see the Go VE button and will be able to start the Go VE project. And in November, all Alma instances will be we will release the Go VE to all Alma instances, which means all the single institutions will be available and will be able to start with and work on the Go VE. So 3 stages: October, November, September, October, and November. And consortia is planned for the end of Q1 2021. So this is about the timeline. We would like to give you some practical tips, talk a bit practical, and give you. I guess that you ask yourself, what do I need for this project? How can I be prepared for this project now, before you see the documentation, the data, the system? So I think this is a list that what you can start doing now. So first, you should allocate staff to work on Go VE. The staff should know the discovery needs. This is the importance. Usually those people are Primo librarians. But since it's on Alma, it's easy to add more people to this area if you want. So this is about the staff. You can start defining the timeline to check your availability, when you are available to start and when you wish to go live with Primo VE. We got questions about the average time. What is the average time to run the project? So I think that it's between 4 to 7 weeks. And our recommendation is it's for you that it will be good for you to be agile and dedicated to the project, so you can then complete the work in a short time and go live. So it's very important to be focused on the project and work on it and switch to Primo VE live. Important note is, as I said, that the setting the timeline is in your hands. There is no limitation when to go live or when to start the project. There is no problem to go live during the semester or in the middle of the week. Maintenance or in the beginning of semester. You can do it when you wish. No limitation for this. We can say that our project with delivery team, most of the customers move during the semester and also in the middle of the week, and not just in beginning of the week in the maintenance days. You may require IT assistance for the authentication configuration, so you can start harness them to the project. And also we recommend you to start check your topology. It's not just check if you are single, multi-campus, consortium, etc., but also if you have special relationship or setup with other institutions. It will be good for you to start see see it. And if you have any question, or you can ask us for if you have any spatial topology or spatial functionality, you can send us question to the GoVE email, and we will answer you. And also you can start analyze your main configuration, like scope, circle fields, no external data source, which are actually the non-ALMA data, which is actually ALMA data is it's indexed immediately and automatically. But if you have external data source like DSpace, etc., you will have you have to analyze them, and we will direct you how to upload those data into Primo VE. So this is as a practical slide, what you can start. And in the end, what I would to give you a list of frequently asked questions. I started to answer most of the questions we get from customers in the previous slides, but I would like to review the important ones to be sure that we are all understand them. The first one is, what is the impact of my users during the self-switch process? So the answer is that there is no impact on the end users. Primo and ALMA production continue to function and behave as usual. And in parallel, you can configure and test Primo VE. No relation between Primo to Primo VE configuration. So actually no impact. What will look different in ALMA during the self-switch process? So first, there will be the GoVE option, which will be visible only to general administrator and not to all the ALMA users. When clicking on GoVE, when enabling the Primo VE, the only difference for general is a new discovery menu and configuration options. So they can start working on Primo VE and configure it. The stuff that should be part of the project can update the user to have also the discovery admin role, so they can also see the discovery menu. This is only the difference in the ALMA, only the configuration part and the discovery menu. Other than that, everything is as usual. Is there any functionality in Primo VE that is not available during the self-switch process? So actually, we can say that everything can be tested and available during the self-switch. Some very, very specific options, I think, that are 2 or maybe 3 features that will be available only after they go live, because they can affect the Primo production. What I can tell you, the GES configuration, which affect also the mashup in Primo, and if you want to test the APIs, those affect also the Primo production, so you can do that only after you go live in Primo VE. But if you have such situation, you know, that you want to configure or test those functionality, you can contact us and we will try to find the way how you can configure it and test it, maybe on Sandbox or any other idea for your testing, if you want to test it before the go live. When enabling GoVE, will I have the flexibility to decide about the go live date? So sure, as I said before, this is the advantage of the GoVE. You have the autonomy to decide the project timeline, the go live date, and your flexibility based on your availability. And the last question is actually, is there a plan to stop development in Primo? So no, the answer is no. Our Primo base consists Primo ALMA customers, but also a lot of other Aleph and Voyager customers that we are not going to forget them. So as today, we develop every new feature in Primo and Primo VE, and this is not going to be changed. It's going to continue as before. you can see that as is today, every feature that we develop in Primo, we develop it. Every new feature we develop in both flavors, in Primo and Primo VE. There are some features that we release only in Primo VE because of the advantage of sitting on Alma infrastructure on the platform. Those features can't be developed on Primo standalone, but only on Primo VE. So this is a reason why you may see features that we develop on Primo VE only. This is a decision that when actually there are way when it's possible to develop on Primo VE because of the platform, we do so and give you the advantage of being on the same platform of Alma and Primo VE, but those features cannot be developed on Primo. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. We will continue keep you updated with more information and when materials will be available. And as I said, you are welcome to send any question or feedback to the GoV email, and we will answer your questions as quickly as possible. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.